but that's one more, man. That's 11. That's 11. All right, but we just a small market team. Thank you for the play. We just a small market team.
Yo, 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 what's up? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Connor Rogers is here. It's 10 a.m.
That's
it's
right.
Monday.
Let's
we
roll.
do live YouTube. What's up, everybody? I'll try not to swear too much or say the F word. That was awesome right there. That was awesome. It really was. And what we just saw there, the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Denver, Liam Cohn and the Jags are like AFC Chicago Bears to me.
Right,
That's
same
what
energy.
they are. Same energy.
Yeah.
He's a psycho just like Ben
Right.
Johnson in a good way, as I always say. Offensive genius, had to rewire a quarterback
That's
and retool
absolutely
him,
right.
right? Kind of that way. But I would tell you that I think, and you know, I think people have been sleeping on Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I think, has probably got more, maybe more talent totally than the Chicago Bears. And I know that's I'm going to say that as a total.
It's not a crazy take.
It's not a crazy take.
The
defense,
defensive front seven
that's
is
what-
not even close.
That's where I'm saying. That I think
matters
gives them
a
the
lot.
edge a little bit. Exactly
yeah, it matters
right.
a lot in football.
But big statement win. We cleared some things out yesterday on Sunday. Good weekend of football, college football, NFL. It was all good. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, man. I love the comparison because both rosters, it felt like when each coach came in, they realized, oh, this roster needs to take on a new energy, and they'll follow my energy.
Yeah.
Like Liam Cohen clearly listens to every opposing coach's press conference
Yes, he
and
does.
pulls something small from
Right.
each, but uses it as an igniter for his team. Ben Johnson, they like the attention on them when it needs to be on them.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's better when you want to keep the attention off of Caleb Williams. You want to keep the attention off of Trevor Lawrence. And now, look at how both of those guys are playing.
Definitely. Playing awesome. Trevor Lawrence really maybe one of the best 3-game stretches we've ever seen him have in his career,
Wild.
right? I mean, yes. And I think that's why those guys looked at that job. They went, wait, there's more talent here. And some people were scared. I don't know if Caleb Williams could play in the pocket. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence can really ever do it and get it figured out. Well, he's got it figured out now. He was a machine yesterday. He's been a machine for a few weeks throwing the football. And that was one of the most impressive wins of the day, right? I think maybe the most shocking result of the day is the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Lions. I'll say that. But as a whole, still, Jacksonville, I think, puts everybody on notice in the AFC and the whole NFL. And something I've kind of been saying, and I know you've heard it, just going, don't be shocked if it's Jacksonville-Houston in the AFC Championship game on Sunday. I mean, it's not a crazy thought. I'm not saying that's going to be my pick, but they're that caliber. And I look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and feel free to disagree with me, is that I don't feel like they have a glaring weakness. Their glaring weakness was Trevor doing dumb shit, right?
Right.
That's what it
right.
was. Can we trust Trevor? A little bit like Seattle, and we don't know if we can trust Sam Darnold. We like the team, but do we trust him in a big moment? Right, so now we have a few weeks, and this was a big moment of, wait, on the road, Denver just beat the Green Bay Packers at home, right? They look like they're really rounded into form and being the best team in the AFC.
Number 1 seed pathway.
Exactly. And Jacksonville goes there, wins that football game, and I just look at Jacksonville with the way Trevor's playing and go, one, I mean, he's throwing the ball and making good decisions, and when it's not there, he's making plays with his legs, right? And then they can run the ball, as we know. Defensively, you talked about the front seven. I think people are really sleeping on their front seven. That's kind of what jumped out to me about 4 weeks ago. I can't remember what game it was. It might have been the Colts game. And when I watched it on film, I went, man, I don't think I'm giving this front seven of the Jacksonville Jaguars the respect it deserves. Eric Armstead, the big Devon Hamilton, right, who's underrated in my opinion at 335 pounds, nose tackle type, stop the run. The 2 edge guys.
They're bigger than people realize.
They're bigger. That's what I'm trying to get
They
to.
don't get the Philadelphia, the Lions, Baltimore treatment, but then you actually go through and watch them, especially Armstead back.
Exactly
and
right.
You're like, damn, this big people.
Right. And if you saw Josh Allen's Hines, right, and you see Trayvon Walker, you go, holy cow. And then their middle linebackers are big, and Aludicon and Devin Lloyd, right?
Yeah.
So they have the look of a team. Offensive line, pretty big there too. We see the tight end pop out. So my big thing with Jacksonville in the AFC, where we know it feels like every team has a little flaw, that they're one of the more complete teams. I know they're young. They're not battle-tested. We still got to see Trevor, but, man, that was an impressive win for them yesterday.
It really was because, like you said, Chris, with the quarterback situation, you can't really hide your quarterback against Denver.
No.
There's certain teams where it's like, we don't need to ask a lot of him today. You go up against Denver, especially Bo Nix is playing better.
Right.
Denver's defense with how good they are.
Definitely.
You can't hide the quarterback, and they didn't need to hide him. They let him flourish. They won 34-20. The comments I was talking about earlier with Liam Cohen kind of clapping back at Sean Payton. Sean Payton earlier in the week said, as you look at him and you watch the tape, it's a smaller market, but you see a real good team. I don't really think he meant a lot by that.
I don't think he did either. Yeah.
But once again, some coaches
Yeah.
will find anything to kind of lift the energy in the room.
I hear you. I did not see that quote during the week, and I don't know really what being a smaller market has
It's
to do with
baseball.
I
There's
guess
a
he's
salary
trying
cap.
to say they're not getting the attention. I think that's what he was trying to say, which is probably a compliment, really, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely,
right?
is. They're better than the national media
Exactly.
realizes.
That's exactly what he's saying. And you're right. I mean, that was a big time test for their team, and it was a big time, I think, just Trevor test because of what you just said. It's going to be a lot on the quarterback at the end of the day. And early on in the football game, and to me, this is what is also impressive. It wasn't pretty for Jacksonville. It really wasn't. They put together an ugly touchdown drive, go up 7-0. Then they went through a little lull there the rest of the first quarter, the second quarter, where the Bronco D-line was around Trevor a lot. You went, ooh, man, they can't really get anything going. Running game, pass game. They kind of put a drive together at the end of the first half, and you start to go, ooh, okay, wait, it's starting to seem to click. And really from that point on, right, it felt like Jacksonville had control of the game. They go into halftime at 17-10. I know R.J. Harvey in the third quarter breaks the big run, and you go, okay, here's a game, here we go. But instantly, Jacksonville answered right back and went right down the field systematically. And again, that's where you get into Trevor Lawrence. It's really good high-level throws. He's on the money making decisions and being accurate with his right arm right now. And then we see a few scrambles, buy time, scramble, run for a few yards. Quarterback design run comes out close to the end zone because he can do that as well.
Yeah, and they sold out.
They sold
on the
out,
back.
right,
Yeah.
right. And that's where Jacksonville's a pain in the butt because they have balance, and then they have a coach that goes, wait, you're an aggressive defense and you want to do all this crazy stuff? Well, I'm kind of crazy too. I know how to block this blitz and come up with a creative play down the field, and that's where they become really dangerous. But, yeah, in that third quarter, after that R.J. Harvey play, it was like, whoa, Jacksonville, whoa, they're just going to do whatever they want on the offensive side of the ball. And then, of course, Bo Nix fumbles. They get the short field, and you're going, wait, they're about to go and score a touchdown in here again, right? They got to like the 4 or 5 yard line, and they had a penalty, which ultimately made them settle for the field goal. But you felt like they're about to go 38-17 and like blow Denver out of the water here. And they get the field goal. Denver, as we know, drives down and gets a field goal. Bo Nix throws an interception, but like very impressive win by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mr. Jabberwocky said Denver's defense has not looked that bad all year.
No, and I think this is a tough matchup for us. It's why, and I'm not, I've been wrong, but it's why I picked Jacksonville. I felt like it was a Jacksonville moment.
Right.
It felt like a letdown game from Denver coming off the big win. We're here. We beat Green Bay, right? We came back. We're there. And small market Jacksonville comes to town. You're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's 405. It's not even a 425 game, right? All of that played into Jacksonville's hands. And then Jacksonville has the system, and they have, you want to blitz and play man-to-man? Oh, we got 3 receivers and a tight end who can beat man-to-man. We got a running back that comes out of the backfield and play man-to-man, right? So they have that, and then they're pretty patient with the run that way. And then we have to, even though Bo Nix and that offense have been better yet, I'm not ready to sit here and like write home to go, oh, Denver's offense is awesome yet, right? And Jacksonville's defense, as we're trying to tell the viewers out there, it's been awesome since their bye week. They've become less crazy and a little less aggressive, and because of that, they play more sound. And, as we see in every game, they kind of come up with a turnover or two that gives their team an advantage on a week-to-week basis.
The man coverage point is a great one. Trevor Lawrence yesterday against man coverage, he had 14 dropbacks. He was 9 of 13. He averaged over 9 yards per attempt on those dropbacks, and he threw 2 touchdowns against man coverage. He was not sacked against man coverage. Against zone, he was sacked 5 times.
Wow, that's interesting.
So he shredded them in man coverage.
Shredded man. Hey, with those 3 guys there, I don't care. You know, Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington, people have been sleeping on him. And the Jacoby Myers trade was a phenomenal trade. Right? And then you see, Trevor knows where to go with the ball. Trevor's throwing a variety of different throws and passes, right? He's becoming a passer in front of our eyes. Instead of just I throw a fireball every time. We're starting to see, I think it was Jacoby Myers down the middle of the field. He throws a little arc ball. I showed it on the highlights of Football Night in America last night down the middle. Beautiful throws. And yes, the Parker Washington thing, his play on the third down where they were going to throw a screen to the left and they threw a little out route to the right. And he caught the ball, made Riley Moss miss, and then went down to about the 5 or 6 yard line for the 63-yard gain. That was the moment in the football game where you went, whoa, Jacksonville. That was the play where you went, Jacksonville's going to win this game. If they don't just mess it up here down the stretch, they're going to win the football game. But, yes, back to that point of no real glaring offensive line issues, right? A little injured yesterday, so they had to shuffle a few people around. But after that, you just look at it and go, what's there to really pick apart with Jacksonville? And that's where, again, I'm not saying they're going to be in the AFC Championship game, but I'm just saying don't be shocked if they are. They're one of those teams that, because of the small market and the Trevor Lawrence aspect, that I feel like the national media has definitely slept on a little bit.
I feel like their right tackle, Anton Harrison's one of the more underrated tackles in the NFL right now, too. He's come a long way. They looked, up against that Denver front. Trevor had some time on
as the game went on, they settled in, right? Yeah. Early on, it felt like, okay, but when you see that with good defenses, wait, they're faking this blitz, this guy's dropping, wow, they're talented, they're fast. Okay, now we're settled in. We're used to some of their moves, right? They're not so fresh anymore because it's the third quarter and they're finally getting tired. And you start to see sometimes good offensive lines start to settle in and go, okay, I got a feel for how this guy moves and what they do. And, yeah, it felt like third quarter, fourth quarter, Trevor Lawrence wasn't under pressure very much.
He is the first player in Jacksonville history with back-to-back games of 4 total touchdowns and no turnovers. Trevor Lawrence has just been amazing, thrown with more anticipation than I've ever seen him.
That's exactly
you brought up the point, not being an athlete out there, but being a quarterback.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing.
It's very different.
We go into, I just go, look at Liam Cohn's attitude now compared to the first 5 or 6 weeks, where it looked like he wanted to pull his hair out. It looked like he wanted to pull Trevor Lawrence's long hair out. And he was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to get from this guy. And it had a look on his face of almost like, I'm not sure we can do it with this guy. That's what it looked like.
Right.
There was games like that where you were just like, wow. The game in London was pitiful, right? We had other games at home. Even the game when they upset the Kansas City Chiefs, there was moments in that where I think Liam Cohn was like, what the hell is my quarterback doing? But now he's at a spot right now where you don't see any of those emotions anymore. And when Trevor Lawrence is coming off the field now, it's like, hey,
my guy,
you're special. You're special. Way to go, man. And yeah, they seem like they got all the right buttons touched. And hey, you the man. You look good. You. They got some serious mojo and Duval.
For Denver, 11-game win streak snapped. They're 7-1 at home this season, though. Still, they have a one-game lead over the Chargers, who have been surging as well somehow in the AFC West. They are now a -310 favorite to win this division at Denver. So let's take a look at the remaining schedules between them and the Chargers. Obviously, Denver expected to take care of their business. Like you said, Chris, this was a tough matchup as well. So it doesn't really change much for you with the perspective of Denver.
No,
right?
I don't. It doesn't make me think differently.
They do
Denver.
play each other to end the season.
Yeah,
but
right.
That game could potentially, I think, not matter.
It might not matter. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think differently of Denver. Denver's still one of the better teams in football. And then we know when we get to the playoffs with that defense and Sean Payton playoff game planning and everything that you got to do there, right? They're certainly one of the better teams in the AFC. We know that. But the AFC, it's incredible. And it's up for grabs. It's up for grabs. It really is. And we're going to talk about all this. But yeah, the way the Chargers are playing and Herbert and Omarion Hampton being back, you know my thoughts on Houston. Holy shit balls, Batman. The Pittsburgh Steelers look like they might be a team that could actually win more than one playoff game or win a playoff game. You know my thoughts on Jacksonville. My thoughts on New England are like Jacksonville, where I almost feel like New England and Jacksonville are the most complete teams in the AFC. I'm not saying they're the best. I'm just saying, just like Jacksonville, you can go through New England and go, I don't know if there's a glaring weakness.
Where's
I'm
the
not saying
flaw?
they're awesome
Yeah.
in every spot,
Yeah.
but there's not like a flaw to where you go, oh, that's an issue with their team. And I think those are positives for that. But yeah, this AFC is wide open as far as teams that can get to the AFC Championship.
Speaking of New England, they beat the Ravens 28-24. A very weird game with a lot of big injuries in it. I mean, the Patriots trailed this game 24-13 going into the fourth quarter. It didn't feel over, but it felt one play away from being over. It was, the game was closed by Caleb Chaison's forced fumble on Zay Flowers. But, man, in the span of 15 minutes, Derrick Henry not being on the field for that one of those last Baltimore drives is the big discussion.
Right.
Drake May making big throw
plays.
after big throw, right?
Yeah.
Big plays,
Yeah.
a better way to. Ramondre Stevenson stepping up with Travion Henderson leaving the game with the head injury
Exactly
that
right.
we don't know everything about yet. And, of course, for the Ravens, Snoop Huntley is a little different than playing with Lamar Jackson. But I don't think it takes away from New England finding a way in the fourth quarter.
I think that's the point, right? New England didn't play their best football and still came out with a win. And I think that's what you look at. And to me, we know Drake May's in the MVP conversation, but last night was like the most like, all right, you're going to have to make some plays here.
Yes.
It's on you. You got to carry us right now. We're not going to be able to run the ball and be balanced and set you up with a 2nd and 5 awesome pass play to where you can make a big gain that way. It's like they know we're going to throw, and you're going to have to make some throws into some tight windows. And off of that, what I think is amazing too is he was shaky early on in the football game. I mean, not that he was shaky that you felt like he was rattled, because he never gets rattled. Drake May's presence is special. That's the first thing I will say. You heard Collins were talking about a little last night, like he never flinches in the pocket. He never flinches with anything.
Right, even after he gets smashed.
Throws an interception. He's Drake May. Fumbles. He's Drake May. Throws a touchdown. Okay, he raises his hand to say touchdown, but he really never changes, right? It's never bad. I see Josh McDaniels in his ears. He's about to walk on the field for the big drive. And I know how Josh operates. He's like, hey, we're going to call this and be ready for this check. And, hey, I might go to this. And he's just kind of listening to him, like tuning him out, but listening. And he's like, I got to do my job too. But very, focused. And I think a guy that gives an offense a lot of confidence when you see your quarterback like that all the time, and that he's unfazed by negative plays. And then, yes, it wasn't easy for them, but man, the Patriots, a number of big moments in the football game. But at the end of the football game, it was Drake May making big throws to Stephon Diggs, who's a big play, big game guy,
over and over.
showing incredible leadership too on the sidelines and what he's doing for that football team. Big win for New England, and crushing loss for the Baltimore Ravens.
Like you said, it was all about the second half for Drake May. He was 16-24 for 202 yards and a touchdown in that second half. This was his first career 300-yard game. That was all everybody was talking about.
Right. But it's funny, I mean, again, it's amazing that somebody can be in the MVP conversation without having that, right? But it speaks to his efficiency, his big play ability. He, like a Trevor Lawrence, like we've talked about, not only is the throwing really good, the decisions are really good, but when it's not there, he can make plays off schedule. And he can, of course, just like Trevor Lawrence and what we talk about with Josh Allen, you can run quarterback design runs with Drake May that make it special too. But I cannot say enough about the way he handled himself late in the football game. I mean, the bad interception to start the game, right? They go down there, 3rd and 14. He throws a horrible ball, intercepted. You felt like, whoa, the Ravens look like they're going to go right down the field and score, and the Patriots are going to be down 14-0. And again, we get to a point where, I hate saying this, but it's kind of the Ravens' MO. Their best players messing up in the biggest moments. And it feels like we say that in 3 out of every 4 big games they've played over the last 3 years, right? And this one was, hey, we got Derrick Henry. We're moving the ball. We started at our own 4-yard line, and we're down on your 35 or so, right? And you're going, Baltimore came to play. New England's in trouble. They're about to go down 14-0, at least 10-0.
It was like early season Baltimore. Like
early
week
season,
one,
right. It felt like, whoa, they're going to do whatever they
Yeah.
want tonight. And all of a sudden the fumble happens, and that keeps New England alive and available. And, between that, the Zay Flowers, of course, Lamar getting hurt, right, them blowing another fourth quarter lead. We've seen that so much over the last few years, like awesome win for the Patriots, but also just another crushing loss for John Harbaugh and the Ravens in a way that just, doesn't look good on culture or your head coaching ability there.
This from Josh Dubow. He said, tweeted, John Harbaugh lost for the 20th time in the regular season and playoffs after leading by double digits in the second half. That is more than any other coach since 1991. 8 of those losses have come in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, that's crazy for what they are.
It's
right?
tough to overcome that.
Yeah, it is. And it makes you wonder with Baltimore. I have the most respect for John Harbaugh and what he's done there. But does it, like we talked about with Kansas City a little bit, is this the end of an era in Baltimore?
That's what
right?
Yeah,
Is this the end? I think this might be the end of the shelf life of this team. I think you're going to see turnover here in a big way, where they got to start to recalibrate for the future. Listen, this is a team that probably could have been in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. And just like we're seeing with Detroit Lions, it's hard to climb that mountain every year. And you know as well as I do, 2 years in the NFL is like 5 years of normal life. So, skills decline.
I always think
there.
of Dan Campbell right after they lost last year.
Exactly.
It was the most honest I've ever seen. It was 2 years ago.
49ers.
Yes,
right.
when he was like, "This might have been our
we
shot."
might never get there.
And everybody was like, "How could he say that?"
Right.
I'm like, no, that's what everybody knows that.
It's hard.
That's what the history of the NFL tells you.
Exactly.
This is how every Ravens fan is feeling right now, by the way. D. Sauter in the chat.
Yeah.
Is this a safe space for me to vent? I'm so tired of the Ravens having better players than the sum of their parts every year under Harbaugh.
Yeah.
They're too talented to be underperforming like this.
I think the whole league, and I would certainly be one to say it, and I know I've said it early in the year and was saying it, that I think a lot of people feel like, yeah, if Baltimore didn't get to the Super Bowl this year, that there was going to be some changes made. That maybe we might get to the point where you go, hey, John Harbaugh, you've been awesome. The man, one of the best coaches, and you'll get a job right away. But maybe the time has come for us to separate and go our different ways.
Like Andy Reid?
Exactly. So I wouldn't be shocked of that. The defense, again, we haven't seen, like with all these fourth quarter comebacks. I mean, it's a far cry, even though they've had good years of good defense, like dominant defense, like we saw with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and that crew. No. And you can't blow 8 fourth quarter 10-point leads and feel like, oh, we're awesome that way. Right? Lamar Jackson, as awesome as he is, we're sitting here going to what year is it going to be for Lamar Jackson? 9, 8? We haven't been to the Super Bowl yet.
And now he's getting hurt a lot.
And now he's getting hurt a lot. And you saw last night, and Chris Collinsworth tried to break down something we said 2 weeks ago. Is Lamar's speed the same? Right? They had the AWS tracking devices. They're going, he's running 4 miles per hour slower than he ran the whole year.
Which in the NFL,
it's
like if you were comparing
deal.
cars, it's like a 60 mile per hour difference.
Exactly right. I mean, 4 miles per hour is the difference between, the guy runs 4.3 and the guy runs 4.7. So it's like it's a night and day.
Like in the league and out of the league.
Exactly. That's why we talked about
Yeah.
hey, there were some plays where Lamar, I'm used to seeing him turn the corner here, and he didn't. Now it's better, but yeah, there's just some of all this, and then him going down and being injured, and a big part of the year. What is this? 3 out of 5 years where this has kind of happened to him. We had the last 2 years where he stayed healthy, but the 2 years before that he got hurt late in the year. It just feels like, yeah, there's going to be some tough meetings in Baltimore. Crazy to say that. I never thought we'd be here with 2 weeks left going, yeah, Baltimore's probably not going to the playoffs. I never thought we'd say that.
It feels like John Harbaugh is going to be coaching the Giants next year.
Well, he's one of those guys that Florio brought that up with him today. And I would take that, right? I've been like Mike Tomlin, but damn, Mike Tomlin, how dare he's coaching
that's
good
the problem. Tomlin
right?
does this every year. It's like, okay start, rocky middle of the season. Everyone in Pittsburgh wants him fired or traded because I think he'd be traded.
Right.
And then he wins and finds a way, and let's run it back again.
I know.
Over and over again.
We'll see. But I would be one, as a Giant fan, that would go, yeah, I would love to have John Harbaugh.
You should. I agree.
That's the kind of guy that needs to get the organization back on the winning ways, get everybody on the right track. Certainly would be for that. And like I said, I don't think it's crazy, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to John Harbaugh. Sometimes just everybody needs a change of scenery,
right.
And maybe the Ravens need that as well. He's been awesome for a long, long time. But, yeah, that was a tough loss for them in a must-have-it type of football game last night.
Derrick Henry averaged over 7 yards per carry in this game on 18 carries. He had no snaps in the final 2 drives after the 2-yard rushing touchdown that gave Baltimore a 24-13 lead with 12 minutes and 50 seconds left. Harbaugh on that said, I don't like the drive at all. Looking back, would I have rather had Derrick starting the drive? Yes. But Derrick was kind of ready for Keaton to start that drive, and then he was planning on coming in next, so they were working that rotation.
Yeah, I mean, there is a rotation that
Right.
goes on, right, in these type of moments. But, okay, one drive. But then we get to a second drive, and then he's still not in there.
And it's Derrick Henry.
Exactly, and I think that's
Like,
where it gets a little odd. You're like, what? What? He's not in there? Like, what are we doing, right?
It's not DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monunga.
No.
This is Derrick Henry.
No, and Keaton Mitchell's a damn good player, certainly.
Change of pace.
He is that. And I understand that, maybe they feel like, hey, it's a little bit more of we want to take a little bit more of a space angle and any of that. But this is something we've talked about a lot with Baltimore. Sometimes you wonder whether they're seeing the game the right way as the rest of us are on TV and going, wait, you're having your way running the ball. What are we getting pass happy here now? What are we doing? And I think that's what we're talking about with some of the mismanagement of game situations, approach, whatever else you want to say. And then the defense not being able to get off the field in big moments. I mean, that's been another issue throughout these years. And, yes, that's on John Harbaugh to a degree, but a little bit of aging in the secondary in certain spots. They don't have a pass rush for the fourth year in a row. So they're stuck in a spot of like, wait, we want to blitz to get to the quarterback, but we're not that good at covering man-to-man. So what do we do there? Okay, now we drop back and play zone and we help our corners, but the quarterback has all day to throw the football. And, that's just been an issue. But, yeah, again, saying all that, it still took Drake May having to make some big plays and some big throws there down the stretch, and he did that, and that was awesome. And none being bigger than one that just started it off. Kyle Williams, where
you said last week, you're like, I think they need a little more Kyle Williams on the field.
They need to put Kyle Williams in one-on-one, put this concept over here, and Kyle Williams, just like they did on that play, and they go, okay, you want to play bump man-to-man? This freaking guy, I almost said the F word.
Good save.
This freaking guy will run by anybody. And that to me is, I hope Josh was listening to us. And Josh was like, damn, Sims is an idiot, but I coached him, and I think that thought's right there. Let me do that.
I was like cheering for you when he caught that pass.
Yeah.
I was like, there it is. It's nice when we talk about something all week, and then you see it go into a game.
It definitely is.
Honestly, the tracking was more impressive than his speed. I couldn't believe he caught it.
Catch that
over
ball
his head. Like when you go to
impressive.
training camp and they do the drill where they're just skying it and they have to look over their shoulder.
Yeah.
That's what it was like the whole time.
I'm excited for Kyle Williams. He's got big things in front of him, and he's just going to have to earn his way on the field. As we talked about, New England is a very complicated offense, and they just don't let you go out there unless you know it all.
The Patriots clinched a playoff berth. That's the first since 2021. Been a little while by their standards. 1-game lead over Buffalo in the AFC East. They're minus 550 still to win this division as we look at their schedules. Baltimore, they're 2 games behind Pittsburgh in the AFC North. So now they're plus 800 to win the division / make the playoffs. But this is the Patriots and the Bills. They each play the Jets. That's like their bingo free space on this. But then Patriots close out the season with Miami, who looked dead yesterday.
Yes.
The Bills still have to play the Eagles.
Right.
And the Bills weren't great against Cleveland yesterday.
Well, as we know, they have flaws. This
it
is
happens.
One of the teams we talk about where we like the Bills. There's things you like.
We like Josh Allen a lot.
Some of these AFC teams, right, we're talking about, they have a flaw. When you're the worst run defense in football, you have a flaw. Like, there's no doubt about it. So, yes, but big one against Philadelphia. I don't expect the Patriots to squander this lead. I think they're going to win the AFC East, right? The big thing will be just whether they can get the overall number 1 seed. Can Denver win out and get there? That'll be interesting. But, I mean, as it looks right now, and we're basically going to have all these playoffs, all the teams are going to be pretty much set, except for just who wins the NFC South, right? That one.
Yep.
And then who wins the AFC West?
Like the seeding almost.
But the seeding, just the positioning's the only thing.
Right.
It looks like we're going to go into week 18, and maybe even before, like tonight, if the Indianapolis Colts lose, that puts Buffalo in the playoffs. It puts the Chargers in the playoffs, right? And it officially puts Jacksonville in the playoffs with the Houston Texans going, wait, as long as we don't lose both games, we're in the playoffs too. So, yeah, we might have a kind of an underwhelming, anticlimactic end of the year here with not a lot of meaningful football games in week 18. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna close this segment out with a look at the number 1 seed. But before we do, we have to talk about Steelers-Lions because this is one of the most wild finishes I've seen. I don't even know about this year, last couple years. Crazy game. The Steelers win 29-24. Detroit, 2 touchdowns on the final drive were called back by OPI penalties. Technically, 2 touchdowns. The number, though, that just, if you watch the game, you're not surprised by this, but it still looks wild on paper. The Steelers outrushed the Lions 230-15.
Like, that you would have never told me that
possible.
the game became a shootout late in the game and the Steelers are going to win? Like, I would have never thought that. If you told me one team, this is the shock of the day, ran for 230 yards, definitely wouldn't have told you it was the Steelers. No way. It was a crazy game in that early on, it was played on Steel. You were like, this game's going just the way the Steelers want.
Right.
Not letting up any big plays, doing the right things on offense, kind of making the game a little slow and ugly. Oh, it's 10-10 at half, and you're going, this is exactly what the Steelers want. But then they explode kind of in the third quarter. And this is where the Steelers are getting a little dangerous, is that we're seeing their O-line start to move people in the run game. I mean, they opened up some holes and absolutely whooped the shit out of the Detroit Lions defensive line.
Kind of startling.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
And I think if we could, if you saw the plays or go look at Jalen Warren's runs or some of Kenneth Gainwell's runs, you're like, I mean, Jalen Warren had basically 2 50-yard touchdowns where he was not touched. Not touched. Like, not even really close to being touched. That's insane.
My guy, Troy Fatanu on the Steelers
Their
line.
O-line, we know, has
beast.
got some talent, and it's starting to look like it's coming together. And if they can run the ball, right, Rodgers will get them in the right pass plays, and now you're not having to ask Rodgers to carry the team. You're just going, hey, just make a few throws here and there, get us out of a few bad plays, and we can be dangerous. But, yes, surprised in the way the Pittsburgh moved the ball the whole second half, and surprised that they limited a lot of the big plays. I know Detroit hit a few pass plays. I get it. But when you play Detroit, it's like, we don't want to see Gibbs go for 60 and a touchdown. We don't want to see Jamison Williams catching a crosser and running another 50 for a 70-yard touchdown. And, yeah, they hit a few 20s and 25s, but when you're playing Detroit, you'll take that. You stopped the run. You made them one-dimensional. As impressive win as the Steelers have had in a few years, especially being on the road against that team as desperate as Detroit was.
How does Jahmyr Gibbs have 7 carries for 2 yards?
Just what I talked about the other side of the ball with like the Pittsburgh Steelers O-line whooping Detroit's D-line, and the same will go. And look at this. Look at David Montgomery's stat. He had a 17-yard rush, and he only ended up with 14 yards running. That means his other 3 carries went backwards, right? They got totally cremated. And let's not forget, no T.J. Watt. And this was a game that was set up for him late in the game where you knew they had to throw the ball, where you're like, man, if they had T.J. Watt, Jared Goff would have strip sack fumbled already, and this one would have been done.
Gibbs's yards before contact per attempt was -1.
I was going to say, it's negative. It has to be.
He was hit behind the line of scrimmage essentially every play by averages.
Right.
It's insanity.
Yeah. It's one of the things we've talked about with Detroit, and that's where they miss Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, all we talk about every week is the Bears and their creative run game. And we don't say that a whole lot about Detroit. No. We go, hey, Detroit's good. They got 2 good running backs. And we're not like, oh, my gosh, wow, what a cool play. What are they doing there? So injuries, climbing the mountain for a 3rd year in a row, all that has crept up on Detroit. You know, their defense being as banged up as it is, especially in the secondary, is an issue. And Pittsburgh, you know, with their veteran football team, looks like they're kind of rounded into shape right at the right time, which is good for them.
Jared Goff, 364 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Although it didn't always seem comfortable for Goff. You read that stat line, and I'm like, watching the game, it didn't always feel that way.
It was work. And let's not forget that really the majority of his stats and stuff came in the last half of the fourth quarter.
When they had
to. Pittsburgh played, hey, let's not let up big plays. Let's make them eat the clock up a little bit. So you had 3 touchdown drives and then a drive that got down there. And, of course, they didn't score at the end of the football game. That really, like, you wouldn't have felt like he threw for 364 if you watched the first 3 quarters.
Right.
You'd go, right, it was work. It was work throughout the day. Now, let's get into it a little bit. I mean, the first PI is a PI. I know it's tough, but in the NFL, this day and age, right, the coaches have been all over the league and everything about stopping the pick plays. And Isaac Tesla, who picks Amon-Ra St. Brown's guy who's in the flat, right? One, yes, it's past the 1-yard limit, which is clearly a penalty when you do that. And 2, he just didn't sell the route enough. That, to me, he didn't really run like he was running a route. He ran like he was, hey, I'm trying to hit you.
Right.
And then he lowered his shoulder as he's about to make contact, again, to make it look like less that I'm trying to run a route and I'm trying to block. And that's sometimes where you want the veteran type of guy in that kind of moment there to make that play, because he'll know how to sell it maybe a little bit better. But, like, he wasn't even pumping his arms. He kind of went off the line of scrimmage and then kind of was, like, getting ready to make a block the whole time. So you can't argue that play. I have a hard time arguing that. It's tough. There was a time, and Devin McCourty said this last night, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, they would have gone, no, defensive guy, you got to get over that.
Yeah, they never
figure out how to do
it.
that. Not the last 2 or 3 years. There are too many defensive coaches that complained about, like, wait, this is going on all the time. This guy's not really running. So they're looking for it. All right, so that I think is a slam dunk. Now, let's get to the last play of the game, the Amon-Ra St. Brown one. I mean, it's slam dunk offensive pass interference. I mean, he goes down, he pushes off, 2 hands, right? Which is what you're supposed to do in that moment. He's taught to kind of do that, right? Maybe not extend.
He always does this.
Yeah, and maybe not extend your arms. They probably want him to run into him, body him, little shoulder shimmy, elbow shimmy, and then come out. Jalen Ramsey's a bigger corner. He gave it a little too much. Jalen Ramsey falls back. I mean, he pushed him so hard, he took himself out of the end zone, right? He gets that. So clearly, offensive pass interference. Here's my problem, and you heard me talking about this before the show. He got hit at the 1-yard line.
Right.
He went backwards 4 yards.
It was over.
They're still calling that a touchdown. This is where I'm talking about the NFL and the lack of common sense, and the referees are so scared to do anything now that forward progress is blown so quickly in the NFL. You're not allowed to do anything curricular to take them down once the forward progress has been deemed stopped. Players are so conditioned to it that once they push a player back a yard or two, they kind of let go, because if you keep playing, they call unnecessary roughness on the defense. So what is a coach supposed to do in this moment? If I was every coach in the league, I'd call each other and go, let's send this into the league and go, what do we teach our defenders? Are we allowed to slam the guy on the ground now? Because if you're going to let a guy go backwards 4 yards and then pitch a ball and we're going to still call it a touchdown, like, we got major problems under the referees. Again, that is dumb. And the fact that they pool report after the game said, we were still trying to figure it out because we called it a touchdown on the field, and they're still calling it a touchdown right now, is insane. And it speaks to the overarching issue of refereeing in the NFL and the lack of common sense this year. But clearly offensive pass interference, then followed up by total idiocy, incompetence by the referees, and that whole thing and how long it took. All of it was a disaster. But either way, I think they got it right when it was all said and done.
The result ended up with the correct, like the fair result. The path to get there was not correct. You're right. He's hit at the half-yard line.
Right.
He doesn't pitch the ball or whatever he's doing.
So the 5-yard line.
At the 5.
Right.
And he's been slowly drifting back from 2 defenders wrapping him up.
And he's about to go, he's going to the ground.
Yes, he's like keeping his knee off the turf.
I mean, come on.
So it's clear as day forward progress where it wasn't a touchdown. It was a stop.
It's a stop.
It was OPI and a stop at the half-yard line.
Exactly right. And that's all there should have been. So, again, the NFL gets in their own way here because we can't follow common sense right now in the league. And then it becomes like, what? Wait, you're still saying that should have been a touchdown on the field? Either way, Steelers... This might be like, if they play like this, I actually might root for them to get in the playoffs.
You're dangerously dipping your toes into the Steelers' water right now.
You know me, I'm usually like, I don't really know if I want to see the Steelers in the playoffs because they're going to play a boring wild card game where they're going to lose, or they're going to block a punt and get a strip sack and go to the divisional round
and then lose
and get dominated. And we're going to go, this is a horrible game to watch, right? Where they're kind of making me feel different.
They're entertaining right now.
They are a little entertaining. Yeah. And you get TJ Watt back, and the way that defense looked flying around a little yesterday, that definitely is encouraging. Mike Tomlin, I think, has got him going a little bit.
All right. The Lions, back-to-back losses for the first time since 2022, that's a crazy stat. They're eliminated from winning the NFC North, obviously. They are eliminated from playoff contention with one more loss or just one more Packers win, which makes them 13-1 to make the playoffs, a super, super long shot. They're clinching scenarios. They, of course, have to win out, and the Packers have to lose out. And they play the Vikings and then the Bears.
Yeah, and they could know on Saturday night this week.
That's right.
We have a game on, I believe, it's our Peacock game. Saturday night is Ravens-Packers. So they could be playing Sunday going, it's over. We're done. Right. It's over. Green Bay beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Baltimore's done. and Detroit would be done right off of that. And I certainly would not be shocked with that result, especially if Lamar Jackson can't play. So, yeah, unfortunate year for the Detroit Lions. They had some different offensive linemen, right? I think that set them back. Then, of course, the Ben Johnson departure, defense, some of the same issues we saw last year with injuries, especially in the secondary. That hurt them. The safeties being out definitely hurt them. I think not as dominant up front, right?
No.
Aiden Hutchinson had a good year, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it looked like, the last year before he got hurt or the year before that. So, yeah, they're still going to be one of the better teams in football next year. But they're going to have to, go back to the drawing board, fill in a few holes. And Dan Campbell, I think, to a degree, needs to just adjust the aggressive nature in which he plays. There's definitely a few games this year where I can point to, and I love Dan Campbell in Detroit. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. I really do. But you know that I'm not in favor of just go for it. Just because it's fourth down, go for it. Go for it.
Like, that's who we are. Yeah.
It cost them games this year. And the Philadelphia Eagle game being one of them, and there was a few other that go to it where I go, no, this was a defensive game, punt the ball, trust your team, trust your team's better, and the longer the game's played, the better team will rise to the top. And to me, yeah, they dropped the ball a little bit that way this year.
We'll have more time to talk about this, but real quick, do you think they should just hire a veteran offensive coordinator rather than kind of what, like, they lost a ton of guys, right? They lost Ben Johnson and Tanner Engstrand. Both went to be coaches elsewhere. John Morton was calling plays, then Dan Campbell took it over. Is this a scenario where it's like, we got to hand it over to a guy? Throw out names. Like, these aren't necessarily the guys, but like Brian Dable, if Todd Monken got fired, where it's like, let them run the offense? Or do you think that's just not how they're structured?
I think Campbell can still do it.
Okay.
I do. No, I think Campbell now needs to go into the year and have an offseason and go, wait, I'm calling the plays. I got to come up with stuff right now in the spring and start laying the framework for what our offense is going to be this year, right? Where last year I think he just went, hey, John Morton, you got
take
it.
over.
You've been pretty good. You take over.
Okay.
Right? But I don't think you're like wrong. And
I don't know which one it is.
I don't know either.
I don't know if it's do what you just said.
Yeah.
I think that's totally fair.
Right.
Or is it, hey, I need somebody that's done this job and knows what we're good at, watches back to Ben Johnson tape and gets us back to that.
Yeah, right.
Not the same creativity, but there'll be veteran names out there.
I'm always in favor of more ideas in the building, or more idea just givers,
different voices
people who can come up with, hey, when I was here, I learned this, and this is how we coach this scheme, and we put these few wrinkles together. Those are things. They're still an explosive offense. We know that. But, yeah, the run game was the big issue, and I think some of the personnel was the issue there too, right? But I do still believe in Dan Campbell. They'll get it right, certainly, and, they have been a little unlucky with the injury bug late in the season the last 2 years.
To put a bow on this one, the Steelers, 2-game lead over the Ravens in the AFC North. They're minus 1,400 to win this division. 22nd consecutive season without a losing record.
It's amazing.
It's the longest streak in NFL history.
And they win one, and they're in. And you would think that they could beat Cleveland in Cleveland. But Cleveland's always scary.
That's actually the game I'm a little more worried
It's
for.
always scary.
Yeah.
I mean, Cleveland with that defense, as you saw yesterday, right? If you just go, oh, wait, Shedeur made a few plays. They're running the ball okay. Uh-oh, it's their defense. They're tough, right? I mean, yeah, they can make it tough. But I do think that Pittsburgh knows who they are. And the one good thing about a game like this is Rodgers usually takes care of the ball and understands, like, wait, I can't let their defense win the game.
Right.
And I think that plays into Pittsburgh's advantage.
The race for the AFC number 1 seed. We promised we'd get to this. Denver controls the path to the number 1 seed. That's why they are the favorite, but not a massive favorite. They're minus 115 at 12-3. The Patriots are plus 140. Essentially, if the Broncos take care of their business against a severely undermanned Kansas City team, and then the Chargers, Week 18, they will be the number 1 seed. Obviously, the Patriots have the weakest schedule. They play the Jets and the Dolphins. Jacksonville is a long shot, but still possible. They play the Colts and the Titans, so their schedule is pretty light too. And then the Chargers, they have a very tough schedule to finish out the season, but they're on the board. They have Houston and the Broncos.
Yeah, that's right. And, I mean, we certainly, all 4 of those teams are dangerous. We're going to break them down a little bit here, but it feels like Denver's sitting pretty. But at the same time, so Chargers, Denver, Chargers beat them. I'm still trying to figure this all out in my own brain too. Chargers win the tiebreaker, and they would be the 1 seed there, right? Or what happens?
They'd be undefeated in their division.
So they get it. Well, my question was if the Chargers beat Denver, right? Okay.
And they both end up
the
13.
Jacksonville Jaguars, if they win out, would be the number 1 seed, right? That would happen because
I believe
Jacksonville
you're right.
beat the Chargers head-to-head, and they would have the same record, and they would have the same conference record. So that's where it's interesting too, right? It's
We went over a couple weeks ago how deep this can go.
It can go. So, and my understanding is if the Chargers beat Denver and Jacksonville wins out, New England would have to lose a game, but Jacksonville would at least be above those guys, right? So
Right,
that
right.
I think we got it right. I think
Yeah.
we explained it right there eventually. Sorry, I'm blonde. I'm from New Jersey. And I went
No,
to
it's
Texas,
good. It's
right?
This is complex because
But
it
it
goes
is. There's a lot
into
to it.
percentage in common games,
Right.
Which isn't just like you have to actually like Google and go through.
Yeah, you
okay,
gotta
this
go through
game and this
scenarios.
game.
Right,
yeah,
right.
It's like everybody gets confused with the draft order because strength of schedule changes every week based on wins and losses. Where there could be 5 3-win teams. So why is this one picking above this one?
Yeah.
Well, strength of schedule changes every week.
Yeah, the one thing I'm missing in this year, and I think this year is going to put this under a microscope, and I wonder if like the fans in the comments feel this way too. This is a year where again there's not going to be much to play for here down the stretch. But if we had 2 first-round buys, that would have added some intrigue, and
I think we
I
should.
still miss that.
Yeah.
I missed the first 2-round buys. They were very important, and I love divisional weekend where it's like, whoa, can these wild card teams come in here and beat these teams who have
Right.
2 weeks to prepare and are well rested? To me, it just added to the aura of divisional weekend.
I'm with you.
Right? But yeah, in this current format here, it's all just about seeding, and it's certainly not as important as far as maybe it would be if we were in the old formula.
You'll get your wish again when we have 8 teams in each
Yeah,
conference
that's
in
when
the
they can do
playoffs.
it
That's
again.
what'll happen. We'll
Right.
have a 18-game season
Right.
or 20-game season, and all of, they'll bring that back. I think what you're alluding to is one of the most exciting moments in sports is when everyone in the stadium is scoreboard watching.
Exactly.
To see if their team is still
Right,
alive.
like, oh man, we might.
It's unreal.
We might get lucky and not have to play one of the playoff games, and then we just have to win one at home,
Right.
And then win one more, and we're in the Super Bowl.
It's good drama.
right? It is good drama,
Yeah, and that's what football's all about.
We miss that in the NFL right now.
We're going to take our first break. When we're back, we're going to bounce around the NFC division races right after this.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code CORNERBACK when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
It's time for Gimme the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. The Bears beat the Packers on Saturday, 22-16 in overtime, Chris.
Oh, what a game.
This was amazing.
Amazing.
This game. The atmosphere.
Yeah.
The storylines.
Right.
What is the headline?
Build a bear. Yeah. They build it. It's Christmas time, all right? You got to build some bears, and they did. Ben Johnson has built a damn good bear in that, all right? He's no teddy bear either. But yeah, incredible game. One, I think the thing that I'm most impressed with what Ben Johnson has done is obviously he's made them tough mentally, where they win. They're a little bit like Denver has had all year, where you're like, you let them hang around late in the game, they're gonna find a way to win the football game. I mean, we've seen it a lot this year, right? They got a little bit of that cardiac kid in them, but the physicality of the Bears is the Bears laid on the line every game, offense and defense. They bring it. Now, they didn't have their way in this one. Green Bay's got talent.
Right.
Green Bay's physical and brought it too, as we know. But be down 16-6, right? Kick the field goal where, one, I was yelling at Cairo Santos, like, would you freaking hurry up?
That was...
I mean, the point of it was you to kick this and make it before the 2-point conversion.
But...
Right.
Ironically,
Yes.
that might have won
It might have won the game.
It was a bad operation,
Right.
but a good result.
It did.
Because I think they kick it off if they have the built-in 2-minute warning.
Maybe. You're right.
But with only 2 timeouts left,
They had to
and
do
they
it.
burned the 2-minute warning,
Right.
which they absolutely, and the broadcast was highlighting this, they should not have. Like, you need to rush the operation and get the kickoff, try to get 3 stops and a punt.
That was insane.
But they only had 2 timeouts, 2-minute warning burned because of the slow operations. It's like, the onside kick percentage in the NFL tells you don't want to onside kick unless you absolutely have to.
Right.
But someone was looking out for him.
Got it done.
And they got it done.
They did.
And it was great theater.
It really was. It was a great watch, that game. I mean, of course, because of the elements, because of the stadium, everything there, right? I mean, as much as I was, you heard me say that, hey, Caleb's getting better in the pocket and all that. Yeah, there were some moments there in the game, but again, it's not perfect yet.
Right.
You saw them struggle on third down. There certainly was a few throws where you went, oh, come on, you're too good, Caleb, to miss that throw. But I don't know how you can not regard. Like, he makes some throws where you just go, holy crap, holy shit, nobody else can do that, right? And that's where I'm still like, if you give me my choice of who you could take as the number 1 pick out of that quarterback class, I'm still taking Caleb Williams because his potential is just through the roof. Right, but at the same time, make the field goal there, get that done, get the ball back, make a nice touchdown pass fading away into the back right corner there. And then the pass, of course, as we saw in overtime, was sick, along with the catch, because it was like pass interference, too. And he still made the catch. Yeah, incredible.
How about the guts
win.
to throw it?
Guts to throw it.
When he threw it, I'm like, you better be right.
I think he erred on, I'm going to throw it far in case
Where it can't be
either
picked.
he can get it or it's going to be incomplete.
Perfect.
And, I mean, he threw that thing about 60 in the air in the cold night,
Whistling.
right? And he does it easy. He does it easy. But that speaks to the Bears, too. And that's where the Bears are dangerous. They're physical on defense. They're pretty creative in how they're coached. Offensively, the same way. It starts with their run game and their physicality. But because of the quarterback and because of the play caller, they can dial up some explosive plays where you can kind of go, oh, it's not look real smooth. Oh, there goes one for 40. Oh, it doesn't look real smooth. Oh, there goes a big play for 50, right? They have that ability, and that's what makes the Bears dangerous.
For Green Bay, the story in this one, besides an awful ending, is the quarterback injuries. The big one, Jordan Love leaves in the first half with the concussion. But Malik Willis, Matt LaFleur on Malik Willis' shoulder, I'd say he's pretty sore. That's a legitimate deal that he's dealing with. And he's going to be another guy that we'll see where he's at as we progress.
Gosh, that's tough. Now,
I thought Malik Willis looked electric.
Phenomenal.
Electric.
When is somebody going to trade with Green Bay and make him a starting quarterback?
Guess who's a free agent in 2 months?
It's him. He's done. Right. So he's going to have a calling. I mean, Malik Willis, this is 3 or 4 different showings in the last 2 years where you go, damn. I mean, the Packers don't miss a beat when he goes in the game. In fact, he might bring some elements to their team that Jordan Love doesn't. And as I always said last year, Jordan Love kept coming back from his injury too early because he was like, this dude's good. Like, he's not making me look good sitting on here on the sideline. He's making extremely, unbelievable elite plays. He can make elite plays with his legs. His arm has elite power, and he's learned how to control the football in his few years in the NFL. Malik Willis is a starting NFL quarterback talent. And hopefully he finally gets a chance here. But
I think he will.
I think that was, you said it. It was really impressive with how he played Saturday night.
It's just when you watch him really take off and run, it's like not a lot of guys can run
he has
like this.
another gear.
There's a different
There's
gear.
another gear.
It's when
he can turn the corner and then go, wait, I'm going to turn it on. And we've talked about like with Caleb or Lamar in his prime, and that where they just you go, whoa, they got a sixth gear that a receiver or a running back has a little bit, and it's rare to see that with a quarterback.
As much as we kind of made fun of Cairo Santos for his slow process, 3 for 3 on field goals in crazy conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing the wind.
He was.
It was like watching a golfer in awful conditions, whereas like he's got to line this ball up perfectly, and when it was off the foot, you're like, oh, and then it would just wind right in.
That stadium is tough.
It's tough. It was a show he put on.
Lake Michigan, this time of the year, the Windy City, they call it that for a reason. And
did you play in that stadium?
I did. Not as a starting quarterback, but as a backup.
You still
a few
feel
times.
it when you're warming up.
Definitely. Late in the year with the Broncos and the Tennessee Titans and the Bucks and the Tennessee Titans late in the year. Cold games, they grow the grass out, make the field a little slower on you. And you definitely got to have a few throws where you go, oh, I got to play the wind a little bit sometimes because it can gust and move the ball 3 or 4 feet.
The Bears clinch a playoff berth, the first since 2020. They have a 1-game lead over Green Bay in the North. They're minus 800 to win this division. That's not a surprise after the result. They clinch the division with a Week 17 win at San Francisco, or, of course, if the Packers lose to Baltimore. Green Bay is plus 550 to win the division, but they're still minus 3,000 to make the playoffs. I think, Chris, if I had a Coach of the Year vote, and I don't, I'd love one.
Yeah.
I would vote for Ben Johnson as Coach of the Year. But shockingly, he's only
second or third?
Third. Mike Vrabel on DraftKings is plus 100. Mike McDonald is plus 300. Ben Johnson's plus 450. And then Liam Cohen, very deserving, plus 550. Maybe this is the toughest.
I think it's maybe the toughest ever.
Right? Because I understand why. Kyle Shanahan's fifth. And you look at the Niners this year, like if you understand injuries in football and what they're dealing with, it's like, well, Kyle Shanahan has every right to be the Coach of the Year as well.
Yeah, and they basically told the whole league and the world that this was like, we're taking a step back to go forward. We're going to kind of rebuild our team here this year. And to still be, they can be the first round, get the first round bye and be the number 1 seed is insane. I don't remember it being this tight ever. I don't. And, Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, all in their first year to do what they're doing is insane. Mike McDonald in year 2 is extremely insane as well. And then, Shanahan with the injuries, how they've done it. It's been Mac Jones, all of it. It's extremely impressive. And, I'm going to be interested to see where it goes.
All right, our next one, a huge division matchup. The Panthers beat the Bucs 23-20. Chris, what is the headline for this?
The Bryce is right. I want to say more from my Happy Gilmore, but I'll just say that the Bryce is right. Bryce Young, I think, has turned a corner here the last few weeks where you've heard me say, hey, I like Bryce Young. I'm not sure he can carry a team in big moments and do that, but he's making me rethink a little here as of late.
Right, there's actual tangible evidence.
Well, yeah, and there's, and this is where stats can lie.
Right.
Stats can be bullcrap. His stats aren't like eye-popping, but if you look at his touchdowns and his big throws of when they happen and when they needed it, that to me, I put stock into that, right? You threw a ball from your own 15-yard line, you got a 30-yard gain on 1st and 10, and then you do nothing and punt the ball out, rather than, we're getting down to the 30-yard line, and it's hard to get in the end zone once you start to get here, and you're getting us in the end zone.
Right.
He's having moments like that. And I've always questioned, if they can't run the ball in Carolina, can they win the game with Bryce Young throwing the football? And I'm not ready to sit here and tell you I think he's totally ready for that yet. But, again, inklings. The big pass to T-Mac, this end of the second quarter, that was a big moment in the football game. Jalen Coker in the fourth quarter at one point on a big third down. Of course, the scrambling, moving touchdown he threw to Jatavion Sanders, right? Those were impressive plays. They really were. And that's where, we've seen that with Bryce Young, whether it be that game, the Rams game. He's certainly not afraid and scared in the big moments to make a big play, and I think that's really encouraging for the Carolina Panthers.
This was his first career win against the Bucs. He was 0-4 before that. 12th career game-winning drive in 14 career wins as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So he's starting to be the reason they win.
Definitely. And he hung in there because early on it was ugly. They weren't really throwing the ball. They couldn't get anything going until kind of the end of the second quarter. And then you felt like, they got it going. That's good. And on top of that, defense played pretty damn good too. right? I think the big thing you saw with them, and I think they took the approach of we're not going to let Baker and them make big plays down the football field.
Right.
Okay, you want to run the ball up the middle for 4 and 5 here and there, whatever. We'll let you do that. But we don't want to see Emeka Ibuka, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin gashing us for big plays. And other than Emeka Ibuka, really late in the football game.
I would say it was late.
Right before Baker throws the interception.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker's barely going to get over 100 yards for the day throwing the football.
Just nuts.
Right. So they had the right approach to that football game, and we're seeing that Buccaneers team's flawed. They're flawed. I mean, their defense is not good in any way. If they overplay the run, they give up a pass. If they overplay the pass, they give up a big run. They got issues there, and it just seems like it's all on Baker and the offense to kind of pull them out and win these football games.
Baker on that final interception. Unfortunately, it was a miscommunication. Trying to find a lane to step through and make the throw to Mike. He thought I was going to scramble. You can't blame him. Honestly, it's just a sucky situation.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one there.
I think they'll bounce back next
yeah.
year from this.
He sees Baker scrambling, moving, and Mike Evans is running a deep crosser, and he kind of sees him moving. He goes, well, he's moving to his right. Let me go help him out a little bit, right? But Baker really wasn't moving or escaping the pocket. He was just trying to find a spot in the pocket to where Mike Evans, if he continues to go, he's going to go, wait, you're going to come open. I'm going to throw the football to you there. Yeah, a little unlucky. They'll talk about that, kind of figure out those details. But Buccaneers not out of it, but they're in a spot here where Carolina wins this week against Seattle. They are out of it.
Right.
They've put the power in Carolina to close it out now with that loss, and good for the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young.
Here I am writing off the Bucs, who are 1-6 in their last 7 games after starting 6-2, but it's not over. The craziest part is Carolina has a 1-game lead over the Bucs.
Right.
But the Bucs are -160 to win the division
because nobody thinks Carolina will beat Seattle this week.
Yeah, probably a 7-point spread.
I would think somewhere.
It's 7.5.
7.5. So nobody thinks that's going to happen, and then everybody thinks the Bucs will go down and beat Miami in Miami, and then they're saying that they think the Bucs at home will win 23-20 instead of lose 23-20, right? I mean, that's basically I think what we're seeing right there.
God, picturing this Bucs team in the playoffs though is just,
I
wild
hear
to
you.
me.
I know.
That's just how divisions work in football. But all right, so yeah, just to recap this scenario, the Panthers win the NFC South with a win at Tampa Bay in Week 18, of course, which is far from guaranteed.
Or just win this week.
Right, or just beating Seattle.
Yeah, if they win Seattle, it's over. It doesn't matter what Tampa Bay does.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Also,
right.
no. If they win against Seattle, the only way they clinch next week is if the Bucs lose to Miami.
Bucs have to lose to Miami.
So no matter almost
gotcha.
no matter what week, finally a Week 18 game that could mean a lot.
Gotcha. That might be the only game that means anything in Week 18. All right, so I had that wrong. I thought Panthers could close it out next week, but they can't do that unless the Bucs lose. Okay,
right.
I got you.
But it is your exact point that Seattle will be a heavy favorite against the Panthers next week. The Bucs are a 5.5-point favorite against Miami, and then the Bucs will be favored against the Panthers at home.
Yeah.
The Bucs at home in Week 18. So that's why the division odds stand this way. But they still got to get it. The Bucs have shown no reason to believe that everything is just going to be smooth sailing these last 2 games.
Definitely not. And the way their defense is, I mean, every game's going to be close, and it's just nothing's going to be easy for them. Definitely not. And it's going to be interesting to see how it shapes out here because as it looks right now, Carolina, Tampa, 4 seed, your first round gift will be the Rams coming to town as we sit here right now, which will not be pretty. Tampa, right? They got whooped by the Rams already. Carolina, as we know, they beat the Rams at home, and that would be interesting to see that happen part 2.
Let's go back to Thursday Night Football. The Seahawks beat the Rams in overtime, an absolute thriller. What's the headline for this game, Chris?
Darnold from the depths of social media memes, he rises above and brings them back and shoves it up all your asses. There you go. All right, but yeah, I mean, I'm so happy for him. One,
right?
Because one interception was his fault. Another one he kind of got a little unlucky. All right, but either way, it's like, damn, Sam Darnold's making some big mistakes here in some big moments.
Right, and that's all anyone wants to talk about.
And I understand that. I get that. Right. I mean, listen, my first thought of the game is like, holy shit balls, Matthew Stafford was incredible.
Yep.
I mean, Matthew Stafford made some throws and just makes so many high-level throws with ease. It's incredible. And then to just them get Puka Nacua open all game long is insane. It really is, right? So that is amazing. But the thing you can't disregard about the Seattle Seahawks is their big playability, I'd put it up there with anybody. I mean, again, the game wasn't like, I'm not sitting here going to go, oh, it was surgical. I mean, look at how they scored, right? 55-yard run. Another short field touchdown is set up by a huge pass by Kenneth Walker where he gets down there to the 4 or 5 yard line. Rashid Shaheed returns a punt. Rashid Shaheed gets a reverse and runs for 25, right? Barner runs for a 26-yard touchdown run. I mean, that's to me what's amazing. Oh, there goes Njigba for 25. That's where they're amazing, and that's where they're scary. Because you can feel like with Seattle and go, wait, we feel like we got them corralled. We're doing okay. We're doing things. And all of a sudden their defense makes a play. Or JSN makes a play. Or Rashid Shaheed. Again, any of that. And they're not going to be happy with their defensive performance. That's for sure. But regardless, just to find a way to win that football game and the way they did it, that's a huge jump-off point for confidence for the Seahawks team.
Yeah, Darnold, the total turnaround, the first 8 drives, no touchdowns, 2 picks. 2 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions in the final 5 drives.
Brilliant play on the last 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Right? They're playing like a man coverage, or maybe it was a matchup zone. I got to go look at it. But regardless, the guy that's responsible for Soybert, right? That was the guy that caught it, the tight end. He's blocking, right? So this is deliberate. He blocks. Emmanuel Forbes, who has him, is going, wait, he's blocking. He takes his eyes off just for a few seconds because he has another receiver in his area a little bit. And then he looks back at his guy, and it's like, oh, crap. My guy he blocked and released. And I'm over here playing outside leverage, and he went over the middle. Really well thought out play there. Phenomenal. And then, of course, there's the clutchness from Darnold to see it, make the throw, and make it all happen. Huge win. One of the most exciting games we watched this year.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
The Seattle clinches a playoff berth, the first since 2022 for them. They have a 1-game lead now over the Rams in the NFC West. They're minus 125 to win the division, minus 130 to take the number 1 seed in the NFC. Right now. For the Rams, they're now plus 225 to win the division. The Niners are plus 370 as you look at the remaining games for all 3 of these teams that have just had insane seasons. This division is just jam-packed. The Seahawks, they play the Panthers and the Niners. The Rams play the Falcons and the Cardinals, so kind of a softer landing to end the season for the Rams.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the Niners, for as easy as their schedule has been, they have the most brutal finish with the Bears and the Seahawks.
Right. But at least, that's where you look
and
like,
that Colts tonight, of course.
The Colts tonight, right. But, it's where, that's that Bears 49ers game, a little sizzle was taken away with the fact that Detroit lost and it got them in the playoffs. Because you're sitting there next week going, oh, my gosh, the Bears and the 49ers, one of them might not make the playoffs?
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
Insane.
It's insane.
Why we talk about Bucks Panthers
Exactly,
every week.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting what happens here, as far as the 1 seed in the NFC. It will be because you're at a spot here where, I expect the Rams to run the table and end up being 13-4, right? If Seattle loses Week 17, right, and the Niners win out, the Niners will be the number 1 seed.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right? So, the Rams are at a spot here where the majority of the year, I don't think we're crazy. Anybody's crazy. It feels like they've been the best team in the NFC.
Right.
They've been the most consistent. And now here they are where you go, wow, they need a few things to happen for them to be the 1 seed again. Not sure it'll happen. We'll see. Like we talked about, Seattle still got some tough games. The Niners got some tough games. I guess in the Rams, what they want to happen is what? They want the Bears to beat the 49ers.
Right.
Right? They want that to happen. And then they want the 49ers to beat the Seahawks.
That's right.
Late in the year while they win out.
That's exactly right.
Right? And then they'd have to hope that the Bears lose the last game of the year to the Detroit Lions.
That's the problem.
So they need a lot of stuff to happen here. Now, I don't think Detroit will call it quits the last game of the year. They'll probably enjoy if they can move the Bears out of the 1 seed or get one more win against Ben Johnson and company. They'll like that. But, it's tough for the Rams here now to get to this 1 seed.
And what's scary with the Bears and the Seahawks both being potential number 1 seeds is they're both great at home.
Yes, they are.
Great at home.
Yeah.
The Bears are 6-1. The Seahawks are 6-2. We know the 12's advantage in Seattle, and we know Chicago, the elements that they play in, as you saw their kicker prepared for it. So like that, this matters a lot.
It does matter. It does matter. I'll echo a little what Stafford said after the game, though. He goes, I mean, yeah, once it doesn't matter.
Well, to him, it's
we'll go
different.
anywhere and play anybody wherever. He kind of said something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I do believe that there's a team that could go places without home field advantage or overcome not having home field advantage. It's the Rams. First off, LA is not a home field advantage.
It's
as we
the
know.
opposite.
If they played in the NFC
destination.
Championship at home, the other team will have more fans there.
It's a destination
and
city.
because they're so veteran and they're battle tested, I don't think they give a shit about going on the road. In fact, they're a team that I look at sometimes and I go, I think they like being on the road better. They like the hostile environment and everybody telling them they stink and everything that way. So I certainly don't. It's not a deal breaker for me. They're not a team that's dependent on being home. It doesn't matter. Their game travels, and of course, that game planning by McVay, their defense, and Stafford's right arm will go and bring it anywhere.
If you need any more clarification of how good Stafford was in a loss, his odds for being the MVP have only gone up.
Yeah, I would think so.
That's how good he was.
Yeah, I mean, that was insane. You certainly can't blame Matthew Stafford for that loss. He did everything possible, made huge plays, and even though Drake May and the Patriots won last night, that was really good. Drake May had some moments of, bad fumble, bad interception. Yeah, I think Matthew Stafford is definitely sitting in the leader house right
Here's
now.
the MVP odds. Stafford's minus 215, which is a good bump there, like a pretty big gap between him and Drake May at plus 185. And then way down the board is Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. All the way down the board is Caleb Williams and Sam Darnold. They are plus 10,000. So this looks like a two-man race now.
Two-man race, and then he's got some easy and bad defenses he's going to play against here down the stretch. Yep. They're going to pad his stats even more. You sit here, he's throwing some of the least amount of interceptions in football, and Jared Goff's 8 touchdowns behind him. The next guy after that is Dak Prescott, who's 12 touchdowns behind him. That's an incredible lead for quarterback touchdown passes compared to everybody else. He's clearly been the best guy, the most consistent guy, the guy we talk about the most on Mondays, I feel like, throughout the year. Well, almost every week we've kind of gone, Matthew Stafford, the Rams, Matthew Stafford, the Rams. Oh, my gosh. And I think there's something there to be said to, when we're talking about a guy that much, that means he's been damn good and he deserves to be the MVP.
All right, the other Saturday game, the Eagles beat the Commanders 29-18. What's the headline for this one, Chris?
Back-to-back on track. The NFC East finally gets a back-to-back winner. Is that crazy? 2004 is the last time that's happened.
I could not believe this.
Right? It's insane to hear that stat. Now, win the football game, eventually kind of pound Washington Commanders into oblivion. You
what
can
was
see
left
here.
of them.
You can see here all the changes and then changing of the guard as far as the NFC East. The Eagles, 3 out of 4 years now, winning this division and been the best team in this division really for quite some time, as we all know. But they win, yes. They slowly beat down the Washington Commanders. Do you feel good about it? No.
No.
Do I know if the results would have been the same if Marcus Mariota doesn't get hurt and stays in the football game? No, I can't say that. I can't. I mean, it's 10-7 Washington at half.
Which is ridiculous.
It's work to go down and score a touchdown to go up 14-10. I mean, work. We're going to go 2 yards at a time. 3 yards here, 3 yards here. We lose 2 yards, we get 7. 1 yard here, 2 yards here. We lose 5 yards, we get 9. I mean, woo. It really is. So, yeah, they win. The Eagles are tough. We know that. They're mentally tough. A.J. Brown had some moments. The run game got going a little bit. That's an encouraging thing, again, where we've seen Saquon Barkley have some holes. Bigsby had a few big plays. But, yeah, one of those, again, where you just come away and go, yeah, the Eagles won, but, it wasn't all that impressive.
The one thing I will say watching them that I enjoy watching, because I don't enjoy a ton about this version of the Eagles this year, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are unbelievable.
They are.
To watch them work in tandem on the back end of the defense, it's insane.
It feels like, I'm probably not supposed to talk about this yet, but I'm trying to kind of get my all-pro teams and all that kind of going. And I sit here and go, I don't think there's any doubt that first-team all-pro is Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. I think they've reached that status. You can't watch an Eagles game right now without watching Cooper DeJean go 4 or 5 plays and go, holy crap, what a tackle. Holy cow, he ran him down. Unbelievable ball skills, great coverage. I mean, it's incredible. And then Quinyon Mitchell, we saw him a little the other night, but we don't see him in a lot of games because everybody's like, let's not throw to him. Let's not mess with him. And that's how good he's gotten, which speaks to all-pro type of guy. I'm with you there. You're right. They deserve some love.
Unreal.
We'll see what Philadelphia can do down the stretch. They're winning some football games, but as we know, that offense is still a work in progress.
That was Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. We're taking our last break, and then we'll wrap up the rest of the Week 16 slate after this.
Fantastic quarterback play. It's definitely MVP caliber. I mean, he's doing things game after game that are reserved for only the best, that are in the game and have ever played the game. I mean, him stepping that 3rd and 7. My goodness gracious, as my grandmother Jessie Sapiti would say, that was some kind of throw.
That was Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert.
Hey,
nobody can deny how much he loves his quarterback.
I mean, first off, top button swag.
There you go.
What up, Jim? How you doing, man? Right? Tell your dad I said hi. Also, on top of that, if he didn't always kiss the ass of his quarterback, right, it would hold a little bit more weight because everything he said was true.
Right.
Everything he was said. But he says that sometimes after they throw 7 interceptions in a row and lose 7 games in a row, right? I mean, I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
No, it's always like that.
He does a great job of building up his quarterback. He knows how important that is to the football team. He knows that he's got to, if you want to win football games, the team has to believe in the quarterback. So he does that and maybe goes overboard here, but this is one where you can't go overboard. All right, when we talk about value to a team this year, I mean, Herbert's been a one-man show in games. He's getting hit and pressured more than any quarterback in football, and it's not even close to the point where I think we're getting to like all-time levels as far as how many times a quarterback's been hit in a year and pressured in a year. I mean, it's insane. And, like, we know he's not going to win the MVP, right? But he should be right there in the conversation. And like we've talked about with Josh Allen last week, right? Like, if you talk about value to a team, I don't know if anybody's more valuable to their team than Josh Allen, the Bills, and Justin Herbert and what he's doing for this football team.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible. Yesterday kind of started out as a shootout, and it was like, man, this is awesome. At first, I was like, wow, is somebody going to throw the ball on the Chargers like this? I was like, what? I've been talking about you can't just throw the ball on the Chargers. You can never do that. And the Cowboys started the game doing that, and I went, oh, we might have found the first team that just said, no, screw you, Chris Sims. We can throw the ball on the Chargers. But they go up, what was it? They get to 14, right, halfway through the second quarter. I think it was 17-14 at that point. And it was like, Jesse Minter figured it all out. He was like, nope, I know what you're doing now. That's it. See you later. And Dallas couldn't find anything going. And I'm just sitting here from that point on going, wow, Herbert's having a special day. Wow, Herbert on fire. Herbert unreal. Herbert, Johnston, Trey Harris, unreal. Man, Herbert, one great throw after another. I mean, a little bit like Jim Harbaugh was just talking about there. Incredible play by them. Good win for them on the road.
Real good win for them. Herbert came into this game under pressure on over 42% of his dropbacks. And in this game, he was pressured on 14 of his 33. So
gosh,
it's the same thing.
It's about the same thing.
Yeah, it's every week. They have to live with it.
It goes unnoticed because he stands there and makes awesome throws and gets hit. And I think we just go, oh, yeah, great throw. I mean, you don't go, damn, he was under pressure. And then, of course, his scrambling this year, and I talked about this the Hall of Fame game when we had them. I said the area he needs to improve on so he can be up in Mahomesville and Lamar Jacksonville and Herbertville is when the play is not there, you still got to make something happen. Right? And he's done that this year, and he does it like a handful of times every game.
The Chargers clinch a playoff berth with a Colts loss tonight against San Francisco. They are one game behind Denver in the AFC West. They're still plus 240 to win this division. Our next game here, the Bills beat the Browns in a kind of a sweaty win out there, 23-20. The Bills' fourth straight win, including 3 straight road wins. James Cook now over 1,500 rushing yards this season. That leads the NFL. He's got a good lead over Jonathan Taylor with 1,443. Greg Rousseau with a huge game, 2.5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits.
Yeah, I mean, Cook is special. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Cook has got that rare ability to be running 4-3, put his foot in the ground and make a cut, and run 4-3-4 as he's making a cut. You're like, whoa, he didn't lose any speed. That's what I'm amazed by with James Cook. I mean, the long touchdown he had where he ran for 44 yards and just weaved through the Browns defense, which has got speed all over it, and he just never breaks stride. I mean, that's amazing. This was a game that was there to be had for Cleveland.
Yep.
It was there. Right, as we know, the Bills, their defense has issues. It was the right approach by Cleveland on the offensive side of the ball. They had a lot of different creative runs. They had a lot of cool little short passes and screens. They did that. Shador made a few plays scrambling as well to extend drives. But, like, it was there. Yeah, really, and then it's a 7-7 game. They're driving, and you're going, man, the Cleveland's going right down the field again. And Shador throws the ball a little bit behind. Ball gets popped in the air, interception, and it kind of swung momentum back into Buffalo's way for a little bit while. But, I mean, after that, you get into the second half. I mean, Buffalo's offense couldn't do anything in the second half.
No, it got real slow.
I mean, nothing. If it wasn't for the Shador hold the ball too long, and then the ball got tipped up in the air interception that gave the Bills a short field where they did nothing, but they just got to kick the field goal. Those 3 points were the difference in the game. That was it. Right? So the Bills, again, it's awesome to see them run and not have to let Josh Allen carry the squad every play, right? That's good. But at the same time, again, they leave me underwhelmed a lot of times in games like this. They play with their foods. They got the win. I got that. But, man, it was by the skin of their teeth in this one.
The Bills also clinch a playoff berth with a Colts loss tonight against the Niners. They're one game behind New England in the AFC East, but they're still plus 400 to win this division. The only Browns note we'll go through, Myles Garrett had a half sack, so he's got 22 on the season. He's one shy of setting the NFL single-season record.
Now, they had a play in that game where Josh Allen ran backwards, nobody hit him, but they called forward progress right where before the end zone. But that was okay.
It's not consistent.
But then the Amon-Ra St. Brown being tackled and pushed back 5 yards. No, let him go and let him throw the ball up in the air and see what happens. Right? First off, I thought it was a safety. He went down, he slipped and fell. His momentum took him there,
right,
and he didn't get the full ball out of the end zone. You have to get the full ball out of the end zone. right? But so, yeah, either way, they said, no, his momentum stopped there. Okay, regardless, that's what it was. It was very close to being a safety. Yeah, the Browns had a chance to pull off an upset in this one.
They did. It feels hard to get a safety in the NFL. Like, they do everything they can to rule that you were not in the end zone.
There's the rules for the offense. There, how many plays that the NBC group heard me say yesterday? Wow, they didn't block anybody, and 3 people hit the quarterback at the same time, but illegal hitting the quarterback to it. The offense was pitiful and did everything wrong, but you got 15 yards. Yeah. The quarterback threw the ball into 7 people, quintuple coverage, and one guy's arm hit the guy on the shoulder. Pass interference. Even though he made a horrible decision. I mean, there's too much bad offense being rewarded in the NFL. It's driving me crazy.
Speaking of playing down to an inferior team, the Texans beat the Raiders 23-21.
Holy crap.
This game was wire to wire somehow.
It was.
7 straight win for Houston. That's their team's longest win streak since 2018. Derek Stingley, of course, had the pick 6. That was the first of his career. Houston clinches a playoff berth with a Week 17 win at the Chargers. They are obviously expected to make the playoffs right now. For Vegas, 9th straight loss. They're tied with the Giants for the longest active losing streak in the NFL. And those two teams play each other next week for a game that could decide the number 1 pick in the draft.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The ugliest game of the year in the NFL schedule. It was, not the best look for the Texans. I mean, just an odd game. One, drove the ball, couldn't get in the end zone a few times. That was an issue. And then we're not used to seeing the Texans give up big plays like that.
That was what was shocking.
You know? I mean, let up Ashton Genty going down the left sideline. I mean, basically freaking uncovered, touchdown, gets in the middle of a pile later in the early fourth quarter maybe. And they kind of got him surrounded, and they let him go, and he bounces out, and he's gone. Like,
he had a
nobody
big
there.
day. Genty.
He did.
A much
he had a
needed
good
big day. I thought him and Amari and Hampton finally looked like really as advertised yesterday.
Genty looked pretty good yesterday. There's no doubt about it.
Shedding some contact.
Yeah, exactly right. Hopefully he's coming into his own a little bit and can continue that going there. But, yeah, that was the one where, like we talk about, I think the Texans looking like, it's the Raiders. We've been hot. Right? They're dysfunctional. They're the worst team in football. But luckily, like C.J. Stroud, some clutch big throws down the stretch that got them that last touchdown to kind of put them in control of the football game.
The Titans were underdogs going into the game against the Chiefs, but they win 26-9 to snap an 11-game home losing streak. This is 3 straight games with 2+ passing touchdowns for Cam Ward, who's played a lot better over the last month.
Definitely. Cam Ward's playing the position finally, right? Instead of just trying to make magic happen, holding the ball too long, fitting the ball into a tight window. We're still seeing some of that, but I think we're seeing more throws thrown on time, in rhythm, right? Playing the position that way better decisions. He made some eye-popping throws in the first half of the game, and this game lost all its juju when Gardner Minshew, when he got hurt, and I saw it happen, and I right away was going, I think that's ACL, but he tried to hang in there and keep playing.
Well, he's a maniac.
But then after that, you just felt like, man, Aludicon, hey, it's a tough spot to be in. I hear you. But, yeah, I never felt like they were going to be able to move the ball in the Tennessee Titan defense all day long.
No, it did not feel that way. The Chiefs, this is probably total shutdown mode now.
Yeah, it's tough. I can't, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost another one here down the stretch just because.
Well, they also play the Raiders final week of the season.
All right. So, and they got, I can't remember who they got this week, but either way, yeah, it's over for the Chiefs. It's weird to see them in that position. And, yeah, the Broncos will be pissed off and want to lay it on them this week.
Absolutely. The Bengals smoked the Dolphins 45-21. Great game for Joe Burrow. Tops 300 passing yards, throws 4 passing touchdowns in this one. The most points for Cincinnati in a game since 2013. That surprised me. We got to see Quinn Ewers, and he lost the game, which means you stay in the record books. Chris is the last Texas quarterback to win his first NFL start. So a nice week for you, Sims. I know you wanted to see Quinn play better than this. It's a tough spot for him.
Definitely. It's hard to come in this time of the year. He did do some good things.
I thought the start of the game, I was like, Quinn looks better than I thought.
Definitely.
And then when it turned into we have to score 40 today, they weren't able to.
Yeah, you're exactly. I think that's what it is. I mean, they had to go on some efficient passes. They ran the ball early. But you knew kind of by the third drive of the game, you were like, ooh, Cincinnati's offense looks like they know how to attack this Miami defense. And they kind of kept that going and just went on fire late in the second quarter, third quarter. Joe Burrow looked amazing. I mean, Jamar Chase looked amazing. Chase Brown had an incredible day.
Great.
I mean, they got a future with him at running back. He's dangerous. Pass game, run game, all of that. Ewers throws the interception on the in-cut. It was tight coverage. Probably didn't need to throw it. But I did like the way his arm looked, the way he looked. There was some positives there. And hopefully, he can improve on that this week.
A young quarterback that had a much better day, Tyler Shuck, as the Saints beat the Jets 29-6. That's the 4th win of this season for Tyler Shuck. That's the most by a rookie in New Orleans history. Chris, he just looked comfortable and confident.
He's a pocket passing quarterback. He knows how to read coverage. This is why people liked him.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like wowing, but, he's open, he hits it. Ooh, nice read, makes a good throw, proper decision, way to go. Right? He keeps them in good positions, and then, here goes Chris Olave.
Yep.
He's got a chance for a big play. He hits that too. Like I said, I think 2 weeks ago, they got their guy. I don't think there's any more question about the quarterback. Now they can start to build the rest of the football team. And, your Jets with, Cook at quarterback.
Set a record.
Yeah? What is it?
Yeah, 15 straight games without an interception.
That's amazing.
That's a new NFL record.
Wow, it's a great record.
Yeah, you got to stay relevant somehow.
Definitely. You guys are doing that.
What a disgrace.
In a dysfunctional way.
Yep. All right. Second to last game, the Vikings beat the Giants 16-13. Great New York football this weekend. For the Vikings, that's 3 straight wins for the first time this season, but J.J. McCarthy left the game with an injury for the 4th time this season, and he looked like he was in a lot of pain.
It's J.J. McCarthy, is showing signs of he can be the starting quarterback, but at the same point, it's like Minnesota's going to have to get an insurance policy next year.
He's hurt
whether
all the
to
time.
compete with him or just, he's going to get hurt, and we need somebody to come in and play. So that's going to be on their radar. It's amazing we're talking about a game that was won by 3 points when one team threw for 33 yards.
That was so out of all the bad games, which we save for the end and we fly through, my biggest question I had for you is, what are the Giants doing? Jackson Dart's playing, but they won't let him throw. I think he completed 1 pass in the first half. One pass.
For 6, I think.
1 for 6.
Right.
Why play? Is that to satisfy him that he gets to go out there? Why play him if this is the product? I don't get it.
I almost got the point that they were like, wait, we don't know what to do with Brian Flores' defense. We haven't coached him through some of this stuff yet. We don't have answers. So let's just run the ball. That's what it kind of felt like. He was totally lost out there yesterday. Lost. And, of course, he had pressure and people around him. He wasn't seeing people coming free.
Darius Slayton drops the one big one they could have had.
Exactly right. You're right. Darius Slayton had the huge drop. The Giants' defense kept them in it. And then some stupid plays by Minnesota. That's really all it is.
Right.
On the first drive of the game, Jordan Addison dropped the touchdown. Right. Minnesota had to kick a field goal. Then they drive down there, and Jalen Naylor drops a ball and tips it up in the air and gets intercepted. Right? So that kind of way. And then J.J. gets strip-sacked and fumbles, and they score a touchdown. Right? So it was like a game where you were like, wait, Minnesota's controlling the game, but now Max Brosmer's in, and that's not going to be all that good. And the Giants can't do anything, but what? It's 13-13? It really was odd that way. For a game that I didn't pay that close of attention to, it just was shocking because every time I felt like I looked up, I was like, oh, Jackson Dart's throwing an incompletion. Jackson Dart's getting hit. They're not doing anything. Either way, Minnesota wins. But that J.J. McCarthy thing's a real thing.
Yeah, definitely something we'll talk about in the offseason a lot. Our last game, the Falcons beat the Cardinals 26-19. Bijan Robinson got it done both on the ground and through the air. He leads the NFL with 2,026 scrimmage yards this season. Arizona has a 7-game losing streak. That's their longest under Jonathan Gannon.
They came out on kind of hot on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Michael Wilson with the big touchdown
Exactly,
catch.
Right. Incredible catch there down the right sideline. They did some things, but as the game went on, it's just that Atlanta settled in. You start to see Arizona struggle moving the ball on the offensive side of the ball. Kirk Cousins kind of got in a rhythm and a flow. And like you said, it's the run game. And that's what we've seen the last few weeks from Atlanta is them, relying on the run game even more to make some big plays. And you get the ball down to Bijan Robinson, he's going to make you some plays. Seriously, good win for Atlanta because it does feel like Raheem Morris could be teetering on the hot seat type of conversation. Right. And now here we have 2 wins in a row, and if the team's still playing for him and fight, I think those are all positive signs for Arthur Blank and why you keep Raheem Morris and give him another year.
You don't have your first-round pick anyway.
Exactly
so
right.
You're not rooting to lose out in the first round.
You're exactly right. They're trying to build something for the future here.
So
exactly. All right, that's it. You know it. You the man.
Great stuff.
Thanks for leading the show.
Yes.
I hope everybody enjoyed 10 a.m. live on YouTube's 2 p.m. live on Tuesdays. Usually But this week's a little different week. We won't be here tomorrow. Going to do the picks pod with Florio Tuesday. I mean, Wednesday's Christmas Eve, so I got to make game picks tomorrow. That won't be live either. I don't know. Maybe we can get Florio to do it live, but I don't think we are. We're taping it, all right? At 10:30, it'll be out later this afternoon. Me and Connor will be back next Monday. We'll be back next Tuesday.
Yes.
We'll be back on a normal schedule. We do have New Year's, so some things will be disrupted. You know where to find us. All right, subscribe, rate, review. We always enjoy the engagement. Enjoy the Monday Night Football game. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all those out there. All right, we'll see you at Chris Sims Unbuttoned next time. Peace out, homies. See ya.